Good afternoon and welcome to the session, What Does Internet Success Look Like? The answer is very different depending on your organisation and its goals. Take the last few months we've been living through. Teams around Australia have reacted well. For example, the Australian Tax Office quickly added content pages to help staff work from home. National Australia Bank built a mobile-enabled site to collate COVID-19 resources, and Suncorp built a chat bot to answer HR-related questions. What this has shown is that intranets and digital workplaces are even more important in the current climate. So let's dive in. As part of this event, I would like to acknowledge all traditional owners around the world. M365 has been going for 18 days now, and the code of conduct is simple. Be constructive, respectful, helpful and kind. We will be covering questions at the end of the session. Hi, my name is Grenfell and I am the Community Manager at Step 2. My role focuses on inspiring and educating internet and digital workplace teams around the world. It's a role I love, especially working with people who strive to make the digital world for staff just that little bit better every day. I see a lot of intranets and digital workplaces. Some are built like the team has been on a shopping trip to IKEA, using a bit of this and a bit of that. However, in this session, I'm going to share examples of what successful intranets look like and a proven framework that helps you decide what to build. Let's face it, the tools offered by Microsoft are comprehensive. Here's an infographic created by Christy from On Point Solutions in 2016, showing just how many tools are available. This translates into a multitude of choices each day for staff and can make the experience underwhelming. There is a lot to choose from and most people just want to get their job done. What this means is that modern intranets play an important role in organisations today. The successful ones are delivering key services and providing an enterprise front door. The enterprise front door is the entry point into the digital world of your organisation. Successful modern intranets are aiming to deliver a seamless experience into the digital workplace. A well-designed enterprise front door can grow and adapt as new solutions are deployed. Think of it as your jumping off point to all the tools and information. With so many things going on inside organisations, visibility of what's happening is also crucial. Now, let's see an example. Amadeus. Amadeus are a tech company that supports the travel industry, and they're headquartered in Spain with 19,000 staff that build IT solutions for airports, hotels, railways, tour operators and the like. They're using Office 365 and one of the product on top solutions, Everest to Go. The mantra for the team from the outset was, you've got to start with the user experience and work backwards to the technology. So let's take a look. This is the intranet. It's called Neo, and this is the home page, the enterprise front door into Amadeus. The content is personalised, starting with headline stories, moving on to common tools, then local news. And this is an example of the community areas for new staff. Let's delve a bit deeper. This is an example of a content section, beautifully presented and tailored to the individual. This is for pay and benefits. First up, global tools are presented, and then we move on to more localised content relevant to my specific location. Another example of a content page. This is based around locations. I like the localised how-to section. Another page. One of the big things I see people struggling with in organisations is to know which Microsoft Teams are available and how to find them. This is how Amadeus have tackled surfacing possible teams using the front door approach. I particularly like that teams can be categorised or searched. They also have similar landing pages for communities and tools. Search is a crucial tool in any enterprise. Again, Amadeus has very nicely presented this. The results show people first, then content. And even though they're mainly technical staff, the team have included helpful tips on how to improve your search results. Now that's just a quick snapshot of Neo and what Oscar and the team at Amadeus have achieved. But how did the team achieve all this? Did they wake up one morning and decide, am I going to build a masterpiece? No, they conducted many face-to-face workshops with staff to explore and understand their roles, pain points and needs. Here are a few photos from these sessions. The coloured example on the right is a prototype of the homepage design to deliver an enterprise front door. One useful technique is to design a successful enterprise front door is to understand the 5 purposes model. So let me explain more about that model. For quite a long time now at Step 2, we've talked about the 5 purposes of modern intranets. It's a really simple framework that we've developed and find tremendously useful in our work. A lot of teams around the globe use this framework. The first of the 5 purposes is content, either corporate content, HR, finance, or info at a business level. Intranets are doing great at this. However, nowadays there is an awful lot of content, and in some cases it's proven hard to keep up to date. Successful intranets structure content in a way that people can confidently find. The second of the classic purposes of a modern intranet is communications, ideally delivering in a timely fashion messages that reach all staff. In some cases, this may just be desk-bound staff. In other cases, frontline staff are also included. Successful intranets stand out by targeting content appropriately, for example, by role. Our third purpose is culture. This is culture in the sense of celebrating the culture of an organisation as it currently exists and celebrating the successes of staff within that. Also, this purpose can support culture change depending on what is happening in an organisation. This can be on a small or a large scale. The fourth purpose is the hottest topic over the last few years and is collaboration and social. This is about providing a rich set of collaborative capabilities and ideally integrating these into the intranet experience. Think Yammer or Teams. The focus here is on allowing people to work better together while not competing, creating competing platforms. The fifth purpose is activity. This is about the internet being a place for doing things, not just reading things. One example of activity is online forms. From a simple list of PDFs collated on a single page through to sophisticated solutions that manage workflow and approvals with built-in tools, using built-in tools like Power Apps. Activity is a key area for delivering functionality to an intranet. So what's then valuable is that you can think of the 5 purposes as a set of sliders. This is about recognising that intranets play different roles in different organisations. It all depends on the type of staff and your current pain points. There's no one right answer to this. It might be that you are delivering a social intranet, and that is the fundamental driver along a culture change piece to build a more collaborative way of working. In this scenario, content and communications might take a back seat for now. This is one approach. Equally though, you could look at a different orientation. Let's say you are delivering for a power station or a manufacturing plant. The focus could be on operational content and communications to highlight any changes in processes. For activity, you may be delivering online dashboards to display current status of equipment. Culture and collaboration in this organisation could be really done face-to-face and not a focus for the intranet. Again, there are an infinite number of combinations, and organisations will be at different points depending on their own unique situation. Where this becomes really useful then is to say, well, okay, where are you at today across the 5 purposes? The scale is from nothing to the best. This is not intended to be a scientific scale. You make a self-assessment and have discussions about deciding over, say, the next year, where do we want to be? Recognising that you can't push all the dials to the top and you can't improve all aspects simultaneously, as we have limited time and resources. There are decisions to be made about where to put your efforts. Which areas will you push more than others? This is a simple and highly effective planning tool, regardless of what platform you're working on, from Office 365 to a standalone intranet. This is something to work on with the rest of the team, but more importantly, in conversations with your stakeholders. It's a great tool to explain why your enterprise front door is taking a particular approach. And that's how we use the 5 purposes in our consulting engagements, and over the years, many other teams around Australia and the globe have used the 5 purposes successfully. Now it's time to explore some more examples of what successful intranets look like. The examples I'm about to share are winners from the Internet and Digital Workplace Awards. Each year, Step 2 runs a global awards program for intranets and digital workplaces. 2020 is our 14th year, and I am one of the international panel of judges. This year also, Rebecca Jackson, one of the key organisers of M365, is a judge. Over the years, we've had many Aussie and Kiwi winners. Maybe one of you are a past winner or will be a winner next year. There is a specific category for M365 solutions. We'll be diving into 3 intranets: Duke Energy, Bank of Russia, and BHP. But first, The Simpsons TV show has been going for 31 seasons, and Lisa is also making a guest appearance here today. During the next part of the presentation, Lisa will appear at random positions. Count how many times Lisa appears, email me the correct answer by close of business today, and I will send you a code to download the Essential Intranets book for free. This book allows you to take a deeper dive into how to design your intranet to match business goals and deliver true outcomes for staff. I'm feeling a bit generous today, so each person who sends in an answer will also go into the draw to win the Internet and Digital Workplace Showcase for the last 14 years. So that's a lot of inspiration and includes hundreds of case studies and screenshots. Are you ready? Starting with BHP. They've taken a best practice route delivering a modern intranet using Office 365 and SharePoint Online, with single sign-on integration with SAP and access to MS Teams. Overall, the intranet is engaging, attractive and functional. It's a great example of what can be delivered on Office 365. The organisation operates in 2 key languages and has quite a diverse workforce, from mine managers to people driving dozers to engineers designing plants. So let's take a look. Let's start with the home page. The home page is custom developed in SharePoint Online, replacing an old SAP portal solution. It provides news, links to tools, documents, and more. In the context of the 5 purposes, there is a big focus here on communications and getting access to tools to do your work. A key feature in the single sign-on integration with SAP is allowing notifications to be surfaced in a single box on the home page. These come from multiple systems and are neatly curated for each person. Saves having zillions and zillions of emails from all different systems. I've got them all here in one spot. Next bit I'll share is the world clock. Now, world clocks can be a bit lame if they're just tacked onto an intranet homepage. But in this case, I'm pleased to share this custom developed world clock is a valuable feature because it's a global business and it's very well liked by staff. This is a truly global organisation, and this nicely designed clock narrows down to the selection of key sites. Let's now look at the news page. Common elements are nicely designed and executed. Likes are getting used. The project team was not quite sure what would happen. News is served in the two languages of the organisation, English and Spanish. What I find interesting is 90% of the content is auto-translated. The other 10% deemed essential to have correct wording is translated by a person. And I think that's a good rule of thumb. Moving on to the My Work area of the internet, this provides an entry point into SAP, one of the BHP's key business tools. It only lists the transactions that are relevant for a given job role. And finally, a list of locations, complete with useful information such as visitor introduction and facilities handbook. All very useful in a global firm. In short, this has been a thoughtfully delivered intranet following best practices and delivering real benefits in this global organisation. The feedback from the solution has astounded the team. They've been really pleased that all their hard work was worthwhile. I know many of you have been waiting for this QR code. So take your photos and I'm sure some of you will win cool swag. Okay, time to move on. Duke Energy are the largest power company in the US, 47,000 employees. Many of these have decades of service, including Martha, who runs the digital team. It's interesting for a traditional organisation to have a passion for innovation and are a leading innovator in green technologies in the US and have even embraced drone technology for checking the wires with, and believe it or not, there's a booking form for the drone team on the internet. This is all built in SharePoint. So let's take a look. This is the top part of the homepage, clean and uncluttered. The focus for this enterprise front door is definitely culture. A considerable section of the homepage is dedicated to employee connections, which shows high fives, that's internal peer recognition scheme, people on the move, and service milestones. This was a deliberate decision to put culture front and centre. Hovering on a tile gives some extra info. Clicking gives you the full details. Very nicely designed. There's a simple form for employee milestones which gets approved before them being published onto the homepage. The content on this intranet is extensive. Card sorting and tree chesting were used to create the new navigation, and it's expressed as a mega menu. This section here for HR shows it's actually tailored according to job role, e.g. manager, and the lock icon indicates that you're going to a third-party provider, which I think that's a neat little idea to steal. And single sign-on works, so it's pretty good delivery from Duke Energy team. The time reporting page is actually the most visited page on the intranet, with a clear call to action at the top and following the clean design that's been standardised. A key element of the process was the use of Electron, their internally developed design system. This is a set of standards, guidelines, and UI patterns that are used consistently across the digital workplace and public-facing solutions. including the Duke Energy website. This sets them up for incremental innovation while ensuring consistency across the employee experience. This is an example of some of the content in the design guide. We've actually seen a few of these now. There's growing maturity in this space. Westpac have done one of these and it's publicly available for anyone to look at. So overall, that's pretty impressive results for Duke Energy. They've got 51% of the staff using the tool every day, even though most of the staff are out in the field every day. It's a nice alignment of the new intranet with the company culture. Right, let's see another example. This is Bank of Russia. So we're going to take a trip to Moscow, which is where I was actually going on holidays this year before global travel came to a standstill. The Bank of Russia is like the Treasury in Australia and New Zealand. They're responsible for fiscal regulations and policy. Staff are spread across 11 time zones. The elegant homepage is packed with information and features. It's personalised by region for the top menu, news, social updates, and more. Let's just scroll through this long page. The personalisation by region is important as the culture varies greatly across the country, from Moscow to Vladivostok, which is actually 9,000 kilometres away. Vladivostok is actually only 1,000 kilometres from Tokyo, so the scale of what this covers is quite big. The screenshots are in Russian. There might be someone in the audience that can read Russian, but I can't. I'm sure you get the idea of what they have achieved as the headings have been translated. This intranet definitely focuses on content and culture. Let's dive in a bit more. The staff directory. With multiple searching and browsing tools, contacts can be added to a personalised My Contacts list on the right. Personal profile is quite rich and more than just a photo. So more than the photo and the phone number, it lists available vacation time, e-learning activity, personal documents, status of IT requests, expertise, and individual recognition. So it's bringing together a whole lot of different systems and a whole lot of different content into one lovely profile. I like what they've done with Project Workspace. It contains multiple blocks and tools. It's largely standard SharePoint functionality. But brought together in a better design. Every Russian intranet I've seen has been gorgeous. They must have so many good graphic designers in Russia. Right, let's look at the communities tool. So this was a custom social tool that was developed and has proven to be highly effective. They've got like 300 spaces across a range of topics. This was a very big change for a highly conservative culture. I've seen a lot of room booking systems lately. They're all really nice, but this one's got a couple of bits that I quite like. Photo of the room, essential. Being able to see when it's booked, so you know you're not in, and who's booked it is really helpful, especially if you want to move someone out of the room. So some good ideas there for people. The internal booking, so when the team did the research, they found that one of the things that really was painful inside the organisation was booking internal travel. So they spend a lot of time looking at consumer-facing travel sites, looking at what were the benchmarks, what worked the best, and then created this whole internal system that you can search and book for hotels, track the status, get approval. You can also comment and rate the hotels internally. Maybe you can rate them for how close they are to the office. Some nice designs in here. So for an organisation where I've learned that open plan desks don't exist, teams are actually allocated separate offices with locked doors, and they actually stay in their room throughout the day. So this intranet is truly transformational to the culture and a great success story for Tatiana and the team. So that's just 3 examples from my laptop. To sum up, we should be aiming for an enterprise front door that provides a jumping off point to tools and information, as well as giving visibility to what's happening across the digital workplace. No matter if your organisation is using Planner and OneNote, or Yammer and SharePoint, or any combination of tools, from a staff point of view, how I get to it and how I use it is what matters. This is a great space to work in. We play a really important role in the future of work. But as we always say at step 2, dream big, know where you are heading, but deliver tangible improvements often. Hopefully, I've given you a good dose of insights and inspiration. For more insights and inspiration, head to our website. There are hundreds of free articles with lots of screenshots, insights, and methodologies. Or check out and join the Step 2 Forum, a community for intranet and digital workplace practitioners, which has been running for 14 years. We regularly share best practices and, more importantly, what to avoid. Our next session is actually a live tour of the Amadeus intranet. Membership is via an annual fee. Drum roll, please. How many leases did you find? Send your answers to me by close of business today, and I will send you the code to download the Essential Intranets. Plus, one of you you'll all go into the draw to win the showcase of all award winners, and someone will get that as well. A big thank you to all the great sponsors that have made this amazing event possible, and a thank you to my producer today, Melinda. Plus accolades have to go to Rebecca, Megan, Lorian, Mark and Daryl, plus many others for their superhuman effort in delivering M365. Well, that was a whirlwind tour, so now it's time to open up the session. Melinda, do we have some questions?
Yes, we do. Thanks, Catherine. Now, firstly, I do actually have one person, Bridie, who said that the QR code didn't work. So I'm just wondering if you could go back to that slide, just so that she can give that another go whilst we have a look at the other questions.
Good idea. I didn't know if I left it up long enough.
Yeah, and I just thought because there wasn't a lot of people saying that there was a problem, that maybe Bridie had just missed it. But we'll leave that up while we've asked the first question. So the first one is, Mike is asking, are all of those sites out of the box web parts? Oh, on the Neo intranet, or are they custom parts?
There's a mixture. Nothing's all out of the box. So, Mike, there's a mixture. Some bits are easy, some bits are not.
As usual.
Yeah. It's a bit of a, it's a great aim, and I understand why people want to achieve it. In my workplace, you've got to make things as simple as possible, but if you want, you can't deliver sophistication out of the box yet.
Yeah, there's a balance there between getting the best functionality and then being able to update it as a non-technical person.
That's exactly right.
And then Mike has also said, do you recommend using Yammer for communications or just news posts? What do you think from your experience?
I've seen both work. There's no one right answer to any of this stuff. But where I've seen Yammer work the best is in organisations that are siloed. So if the organisation has lots of different departments that don't talk to each other, Yammer sort of creates that one platform and works quite nicely. But being mindful of that, Yammer has to be implemented in such a way that you give people permission to use it, that you give them guidelines, that you give a bit of encouragement, so that it's not just a turn it on situation with Yammer. With news articles, in my experience, I think most intranets have had that for however many years. The news articles that really get the traction, though, are the ones that are about people and what people have done. So if you're going to take that approach, again, I would focus on people.
Yeah, that makes sense. So somebody who's anonymous says, what is the typical distribution of the 5 purposes you've described? I think I know the answer to this. What is the typical distribution of the 5 purposes you've described in the most successful intranets?
Oh, that's a brilliant question. Okay, Mel, go for it. What's your answer?
Well, I was going to say that the personalities of all businesses are many and varied, and therefore the successful intranets would be many and varied as well. They just need to spend time working out for the individual companies what would be the right distribution.
Yeah, so absolutely. That's 100% true. The interesting thing that I see is, look, everybody has content. And lots of them start with content and start with comms. But it's as they mature that they get more effective or more useful in the organisation. And it's the ones that have the activity seem to be the intranets that really do the most. So if you think about the BHP example, where they had all those notifications, taking them out of their email and putting them onto that one area where they could go made a massive difference in the organisation. So I think the activity is something I definitely see in successful intranets, but you don't normally start there. It takes a while to get there.
Okay, and then we actually, if Bridie, who couldn't get the QR code to work, if you could let me know, send another little question so that we can take that off the screen as well. Someone has tagged on to Mike's question about recommending Yammer and said, can you, so the question says, read the question about Yammer. Can you also ask about Teams too? And that question was, do you recommend using it for communications?
Oh, okay. I could get shot with arrows for this answer. Oh, I'm scared now because I'm going to tell the truth. Communications, it depends. If you're doing communications across the organisation, there's no way I'd be doing it in Teams because, again, Teams silos it. If you're doing communications within, so let's say, I don't know, you're at BHP and you're working on the mine site in, I don't know, I don't even remember where their mines are, but let's say there's one in Ecuador and there's a particular plant team in Ecuador and they want to do things together there, great, I'll do it in Teams. If I was doing it for all of BHP and I was using a global local model, I would be thinking about putting the news at a much higher level. Do you think that answers the question, Mel?
Yes, I do. I think it's really about your audience. And so if you want to talk to the people that you work with every day, then Teams is the place to do that. But if you want to talk to a wider audience, people across the business, even in different business units, then Yammer is the place for that.
There you go.
Okay, now I'm got another one. Oh, Mike's back again. He says all of these intranets are using customised custom developed web parts. Does it mean that to have a successful intranet, we'll need to have custom look and feel? Do users like the out-of-the-box themes and look and feel of SharePoint? What would be the difference between building these intranets using ASP.NET and totally custom than making it in SharePoint and not using the SharePoint features? That was a big question, Mike. Do you want me to read it out again, Catherine?
Well, you know what? The truth is I can't answer that question.
Right.
I'm not, like technical stuff is not, it's not really where where my expertise is. But what I can answer is that deciding how to technically deliver something is something that has to be worked out with the technical team. But I do know if people like the look of something, they're more endeared to it, they're more likely to use it. So gone are the days of ugly intranets and ugly solutions. So that bit, in my experience, I'm very confident on. We do research with organisations all the time. We do testing with things, and people expect a lot more from inside their organisation now than they did in the past.
Yeah, and I have seen, out of the box web parts that look amazing and the same web part that looks not so great. So a lot of times it's the the icons or the images that that can really help make the out of box actually a good experience. So
and it's if something's like tacked on and it's really obvious it's tacked on, or if something is looks like it belongs.
Mm-hmm. The Bank of Russia example, was that built in SharePoint or something else?
Yeah, that was SharePoint Online, which was a big thing for, a federal government department in Russia to be able to get permission, and a very conservative department that they got that through. That took a long time to get approval, but yes.
Okay, and I'm just getting somebody else. Oh, hang on. Okay, so a few people have said that they haven't got the QR code to work. Let me just have one. Okay, so let me see if I can share my screen, because I have in the meantime downloaded the latest version of it.
Okay.
If we can't get that to work, then I'm afraid I don't have any other answers, but I will try and pull it up myself. And
yes, because people have got to get their swag.
I know. I think I don't know what the swag is.
No, that's what I keep wondering. What is it? Should I be going and QR coding everything? Oh,
yeah, that's a very good point. Let me find the slide first. Hang on. I downloaded the slides and I haven't got the right. Here it is. So I'll share my screen.
Okay, so I'll end the show.
Yeah, I wasn't so. Don't do anything.
We know what we're doing.
Let me. Yeah, we like to pretend we do. Let me see if I can get this. Okay. Can you guys see my screen? Oh, hang on.
I think I can see you having a cuppa.
Oh,
competition week 4. I can see that.
That one. There we are. So if anyone wants to try, let me try it on my phone and see. So you can see the slide right now?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so let me see what happens when I scan it. It opens up a form. You're right, the form is currently not accepting responses. Okay, well, all I can say is I didn't do it.
We've learned.
All I can say is this is a volunteer event, and that's what we've got. So that was my partner sneezing in the background. So yeah, I'm afraid I haven't got any other resources to share with everybody. That's it. So if it didn't work, I'm afraid put it in your suggestions for next time. So
hopefully they can get some swag by sending me the numbers of leases.
Good thinking.
And I'm also happy to take any questions offline, and especially Mike, if you want to talk a little bit more, just contact me. And yeah, I can talk for hours about this stuff, and I just shared a couple of examples from my laptop. There's many more.
Okay, and so let me just go back and look if we have any other questions that are not. Oh, can you provide link to the competition again? So, I wonder if that's the QR one or your Lisa one. Maybe put your slide back up for that.
Okay.
In the meantime, let me just split the screen again. I need you to share as well.
Yep, I've done that.
Somebody says, wasn't the Bank of Russia site built on-prem?
Was it on-prem? Is that Bridie? Because Bridie talked to them.
Oh, yes.
If it's the one, there's many Bridies in Australia, but I'm guessing
yes,
which
it could
Bridie
be.
it is. Yes, it's me.
And also, Catherine.
Oh, yes, you're right. Custom developed on-prem. Sorry. Thanks,
okay.
Bridie.
And your screen hasn't shared yet.
Oh, okay. Let me see what I do. Oh, yeah, because you shared. Rightio.
Yep, I took over, so I've now relinquished that to let you do it.
Okay. Play. And go to Lisa.
And then whilst that's popping up, okay, I'll just send that live. Whilst that's popping up, Rebecca Rogers, your colleague at Step 2, has said, I would also like to add to Catherine's answer, there are still limitations to what can be done in SharePoint Modern, so some organisations are using a hybrid approach to achieve required integration based on business and user needs. Great.
Yeah, thanks, Beck. Beck's the one that's out there at the front line doing this. So she
says, yes, it is me. So, yeah, okay. So, yeah, Rebecca's got a little bit more frontline experience on that.
Absolutely.
Cool. Okay, well, I think we've addressed all of the questions. We've bombed out on the QR code, but we do have the Lisa competition and your email address if anyone else wants to get in contact. And yeah, we're basically at 1:44, which means if anyone wants to get going to the next session, we need to end now.
All right. Bye, everyone.
And thank you, Catherine. That was really informative. Thanks very much.
Thank you.